Goedemiddag allemaal, mijn naam is Koen van Bakel. Ik ben Solution Architect binnen Red Hat op het gebied van cloud. Nou, daar hebben jullie vandaag al heel veel over gehoord. Wie van jullie heeft in de pizza-sessie gezeten van Erik Geensen, mijn collega vanochtend vroeg? Oké, niet zoveel. We hebben een beetje de vergelijking gemaakt, OpenStack als zeg maar de IaaS infrastructuur, de onderkant, de pizza-bodem voor het geheel. Ik vind pizza heel erg lekker, maar ik ga het vanmiddag wat meer over laagjes hebben. Cloud management ook, het deployen van applicaties, het managen van applicaties. En ja, dan zit je wat meer in de lasagne. Maar ja, laat me even kijken. Kijk, de Red Hat collega's. Dus vanmiddag, ik ga het hebben over deployen en managen van applicaties op OpenStack. Daar komt het een en ander bij kijken. Ik hou het niet alleen bij een theoretisch verhaal. Ik wil dadelijk ook op het eind wil ik eigenlijk laten zien hoe dat daadwerkelijk werkt. En dat is een relatief simpel voorbeeld, maar het geeft een beetje een idee van wat we kunnen en waar we naartoe gaan en wat de ontwikkelingen zijn. Ik ga een poging doen om straks live eigenlijk, en dat doe ik weliswaar offline hier op mijn laptop, dus alles komt van mijn laptop af, ga ik een WordPress-applicatie eigenlijk uitrollen vanuit CloudForms, het cloud management product, de service portal wat we bieden. En, Peter? Of Patrick? Do you want it in English? Yeah? Oh, sorry for that. Yeah, I'll switch to English. So I'm gonna deploy a WordPress application live from CloudForms towards OpenStack with an external IP so that you have a fresh install of a WordPress implementation in OpenStack. So that's what I'm gonna demonstrate, right? So just to get started, we all know physical servers, we all know virtualization, I think, in the various forms that we have, the variants that there are. There is a new kid on the block that is containers, really. That's also in our strategy. It's mainly integrated into our portfolio. So I'll address that one too. But this is really a reality, or becoming a reality. Implementation of physical servers, it's still there, it's still needed. We'll have that for a period of time. But we move towards virtualization on OpenStack or Red Hat Enterprise Virtualization or VMware, whatever you would like as a hypervisor for virtualization. And containers is the new kid on the block. And I'll try to position how we go with that and what kind of transitions you can go to if you want. From a Red Hat perspective, we have a vision, and that is open hybrid cloud. We have that vision now for, let's say, a couple of years. And the thing is, one of the main things is openness, of course. If you think Red Hat is an accelerator, an innovator in open source. That is really our mission statement. So open is really part of the complete vision. But what we want to have you do is, of course, run your business as flexible and in the best manner that is possible. So it's all about applications, business processes that are there and that are key for your business. And what we'll try to give you is all flexibility that we can, so you could land stuff on top of physical hardware, also virtual, private cloud, but also public cloud. And with our cloud management portfolio, or cloud management product, which is called CloudForms, and in the community it's called ManageIQ, we'll address all these infrastructure services that are there. We have a product called Red Hat Cloud Infrastructure, and Red Hat Cloud Infrastructure is a product or a bundle of several products that we have that will enable you to go to cloud and transition towards cloud in baby steps. And that's also a differentiator, I think, if you compare it to other products or other bundles that are out there. It consists of Red Hat Satellite, which is really our orchestrator, provisioner for security patching, for example, getting new packages in, updating your systems. We've got, of course, the OpenStack platform, RHEL OSP. Don't know how the name got out there, or the how do you call it? The RHOSP, as they call it. It's quite a difficult name, but it's really OpenStack. And one of the things that we have from a Red Hat perspective is that we work in the community. So not taking out stuff from the community and creating our own distribution. No, we're sitting in the community. We have developers dedicated in the OpenStack community, working there. And based on the work that finds place in the community, we create a distribution that is very, very close to the community edition, right? But we give you an SLA on top of it, support, etc. And there is a life cycle now for 3 years on OpenStack. Red Hat Enterprise Virtualization, that is really the alternative to, let's say, VMware, ESX, or to Xen. That is really the hypervisor that we use for virtual scaling, vertical scaling, and that's really the virtualization platform that we have. And CloudForms, that is cloud management platform, an umbrella on top of all these products, and even more, also external products, and I'll show you later, by which we can manage all the cloud infrastructure that you have. So if you look at Red Hat Cloud Infrastructure, you'll see that we have the virtualization option called REV, existing virtualization. Most of the customers are using VMware and are familiar with that. But you can use an alternative towards VMware called REV. It's the same feature functionality, and this is really in the mode 1 space. If you listen to the talk Eric did this morning, talking also about the bi-model IT document that Gartner put out. They say, okay, we have brownfield existing virtualization and physical systems. That is there, and we need that. That is now running our core business, right? But in the end, if you look into the future, we'll move towards more cloud-like technology, introducing cloud technology, and that's called Mode 2, more agile. And then you get more into workloads that really need to scale horizontally, et cetera, et cetera. So the more newer technology. If you look at containers, for example, that you should place really in the box of Mode 2. So, but Gartner is saying also bi-model IT. So what we mean with that, or what Gartner means with that, is that for the foreseen future, the next couple of years, we'll have and Mode 1 and Mode 2. And that is really what we also address here with the Red Hat Cloud Infrastructure portfolio. We provide you virtualization, we provide you OpenStack, Mode 2. But if you look at how you implement that, and maybe you can concur or not, but what normally happens is if a customer is interested in OpenStack, they want to try OpenStack, what they do is they define a use case and they put a new silo into their environment, separate from their existing environment, just to kick the tires, see what OpenStack can do for them, if the workloads will work or not, etc., etc., etc. But then, if OpenStack is a fit for some of your use cases, great, you want to go for production. And that's really happening now. People are going to production with OpenStack. And there are major customers also. But then the question comes up, how do we get the stuff from our existing environment towards Mode 2, towards OpenStack? And that's a big question. It's a short question, but it's one that really needs planning and thinking of how can you do that. And that's what we address with our EAS portfolio here. We share services between OpenStack and REV. For example, if you look at networking, in OpenStack, that's a great stuff that are going on in Neutron from a software-defined network perspective. In the virtualization space, it's on another way defined. It's another, I'm going to sound like Louis van Gaal. It's a different kind of cookie. But the thing is, what we do here is we can share Neutron, so software-defined networking, already towards Mode 1, towards REV. So you can introduce new cloud technology that you're in the end going to use into your existing environment, transparent to the end user, transparent to the business application, which is really the core. Right? And that's only one example. We do that also for Glance, and we're going to do that for Cinder. So also for your images and your infrastructure, we're going to share that more and more. So when we do that, we'll introduce you baby steps in a timely manner to go from mode 1 to mode 2 when you think time is right or fit for your implementation. What we also have here on the left side is a cloud systems management. We call that in a product satellite. That gives you provisioning and orchestration towards your infrastructure, both mode 1 and mode 2. It's mainly focused on Linux workloads, but we can do that for mode 1 and 2. So you go to recipe-based provisioning and orchestration of your environment, automation, no human error involved, and you have a way to go also over towards mode 2. And then on top, we have a cloud management platform, which is called CloudForms in our scenario or our portfolio, which is really the umbrella on top of, and that's why it's also there in the picture. That's on top of the complete infrastructure managing your environment. And that's really also what Gartner says. You really need a cloud management platform. Now, why is that? If I look at customers, and I speak a lot with customers about OpenStack and for RAV and for virtualization in general, what I see most of the time happening is that people choose, for example, for OpenStack and try to solve everything with OpenStack, including monitoring, metering, alerting. They write bespoke software to do chargeback and planning and trending information, etc. They do a lot of extra stuff that is not standard in OpenStack. Now you have to ask yourselves the question, do you really want to do that? Because we all know every 6 months a new version of OpenStack is coming out. So every 6 months you can really go and have a look if your code is still valid and all your bespoke stuff on top of it is still working, right? That is why Gartner always says, oh, okay, you need a cloud management platform just to abstract things like monitoring, metering, alerting, policies, security, control policies, for example, extract that from the infrastructure as a service layer and put it on a higher level. So that is, now I'm coming back to the lasagna bit, right? Think in layers. And then again, you can say, okay, if I do that, I'll introduce more and more complexity and I have layers and how will that do for performance, for example? Now the thing is, we can prove you that this is really for performance impact, it's near zero impact. From a complexity level, I think it's not more complex. Better wording, I think it's more strategic thinking if you do layers. Create the abstraction. That is why also OpenStack got the attention of the market. OpenStack is really where virtualization did abstract the hardware from a hypervisor or from an operating system. OpenStack is really abstracting the hypervisor layer from the application, so it's even going further. So put the stuff that you want to control on the level where you need it. And that is why we create the complete bundle, Red Hat Cloud Infrastructure. If you look at capabilities, comparison between OpenStack and RAV, it's compute, persistent storage, object storage, software-defined networking, etc. But if you need anything like governance, chargeback, monitoring, analytics, alerting, etc., get it on a higher level. And that's what CloudForms will do for you. Now, in the latest OpenStack Summit, we did some announcements. One of the announcements is on the bottom here, is CloudForms 3.2. CloudForms is a product that started off on top of VMware, so it has a good track record there. It had several best of shows the last couple of years. In 2014, it had best of show at VMworld in Barcelona also. So it's got a good track record, but it's not only VMware. It's an appliance running in your infrastructure as a service can do that in VMware, but we can also do that in KVM, so Rev, for example. We can do that on top of OpenStack also, and I'll show you later on. I've had an appliance here running in OpenStack on my laptop, and I'm going to provision the WordPress environment there. We have now feature compatibility between VMware and OpenStack. So there is really no real big difference anymore between what we can do towards VMware or towards OpenStack. Right? So there's multi-tenancy. You can do everything that you want there. Another thing that we announced here is an early program for Red Hat Cloud Suite for applications. That is also a differentiator against our competitors or colleagues. What we'll have now is also introducing PaaS, so the development environments in towards our cloud strategy and cloud portfolio. Here you see a little bit of a picture. What we had is Red Hat Cloud Infrastructure, so virtualization, OpenStack, Rev, etc. Infrastructure as a service. Satellite also for provisioning and orchestration, and now we're going to introduce platform as a service, OpenShift, into a new bundle and have that completely managed. And here should be CloudForms, managed by hybrid management, so we have one single pane of glass, one interface towards complete management of the software-defined stack. Right. Who of you guys is familiar with OpenShift? Okay. Who of you is familiar with containers, Linux containers, Docker? Right. What we have is a platform as a service called in a product OpenShift that is now completely based on container technology. So we're using Docker containers, but it's open towards more multiple container formats that are out there or coming out there. So it's a pluggable system. We'll have our complete middleware portfolio integrated into that as containers, right? So you can use the JBoss software. You can use whatever you would like. If you want WordPress in OpenShift, go ahead, do that. It's container structures, and we have that now in a product and also bundled with Red Hat Cloud Infrastructure. What is new, and for this moment it's not there yet, but in the next minor release of OpenShift, we're going to have enablement to run OpenShift on top of OpenStack. So you get all the feature benefits of OpenStack, so the software-defined networking, the glance image repository, etc., integrated towards OpenShift. So all the technologies come together, and you can manage it from one perspective called CloudForms. OpenShift won some awards, several. The latest and greatest is this one, InfoWorld. Here's a press article about it. It's really interesting. It's hot stuff with cool technology, hot stuff, cool technology from Red Hat, right? So here you get all the complete environment, scalable infrastructure for horizontal and vertical scaling, OpenShift for DevOps integration, unified management from CloudForms. So this is going to be reality. Containers really clip and you're there, right? This is, you guys, this is an exclusive picture. I got this a day ago from the US. This is not there yet. This is our next release of CloudForms, version 4. It's coming out later this year. And what I want to show you here is that we, from a CloudForms perspective, we can do OpenShift and Docker integration also. So this is new providers coming available from a CloudForms perspective, give you a dashboard, running containers, managing containers, even look into containers. What is the level? What software is running there? Is that compliant? Can you control it? Is it for policy-wise, company policies? Is that okay? Or should we take action? So we can manage complete container environments. If you look at the manage IQ bits, a moment please. Yep.
If you want to use Cloud Foundry, do you have plugins for that?
what we can do from a CloudForms perspective is we can, and I'm going to show the WordPress deployment, for example. I'm now going to use a Heat template, but I can do also Cloud Foundry template.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have that integration. Yeah. Okay. But the thing is, and that you really have to keep in mind, Red Hat is not only Linux. It's really broader. Yeah. We want to be an accelerator of open source. That's the statement. It's not only Linux. Right? So we can have all the dashboard functionality, but also the introspection. And that is, if you look at containers, who has developed a Docker file? And who did statements like get the latest Fedora image or get the latest? Okay, yeah, that's normal behavior now, right? But now, question to you: if I want to create that Docker image again next year, that Fedora latest image that you're going to use as a base, the pizza, right, for the Docker container that you're going to create, that's got complete different content. So how do you address that? Lifecycle management of containers. That's where satellite, for example, comes in, which is part of the Red Hat infrastructure, cloud infrastructure. We do lifecycle management on containers. So we create a hub, a Docker hub, or a Linux container hub, or repository, how you want to call it, and do lifecycle management from there. From a CloudForms perspective, it's the one to rule them all. We can do the lifecycle management towards VMware, Rev, OpenStack, OpenShift, containers, etc. So you get a real, true single pane of glass. And this is, they asked me, the BU, the business unit, not to show you this because they didn't like how it was presented. It was not finished yet, so this is really early stage. But I think I have to show you. What you here see is the relationships between containers and services that are running, or applications really, and how they get together. So from a CloudForms perspective, we can show you how your application runs and where it runs, on which hypervisors, on which nodes, in which cluster, is it test, is it production, is it whatever you would like. And what we also can do is we can really simulate things like, for example, if this thing goes down, what will happen to the rest of the infrastructure? So what is the business impact? And what will it cost you? Because we do also chargeback, monitoring, metering, etc. So you can really get a feel from what the impact will be. And maybe you should get your design better or have another look at it. It's a dynamic environment, it's going fast, and we'll give you the tooling to really show you how it works. So this is really, in short, really short, because I can talk 3 or 4 days. I'm sure you're not happy if I do that now, but this is really, in short, what we can do and where we go. Now let's go to a demo, quick. I've got 5 minutes, I think, and otherwise people will chase me, but I'm gonna go into OpenStack. Again, I have this all on my laptop now. I have instances running. One instance is CloudForms that's running here as a virtual appliance in OpenStack. If I go to that appliance, which is really also a web interface, and it's all the same interface, right? I go in as admin right now. Let's see. You'll see the first dashboard, and it's really neat because you can do things like this. But it's that's not my story, right? This is not why you're going to buy in. But what I can do is I can go to catalogs, and I have here a model for example, to order a WordPress application. I do the order here, and I'm now in admin mode. You can define your own look and feel towards it. It's all API based, so you can integrate it into your own portal if you want to. But now it asks me several questions like, okay, what would you like the WordPress application to, what's the name, the timeout. You can see here specific OpenStack questions like, what SSH key do you want to use, what instance type or flavor should it be, the image that you want to use, public network, private network. I'm right, I have 5 minutes. Public network, private network, this is all, yeah, this is code that I put in to show you here. And that's maybe also answering your question over there. I can show you the template that I'm using. So here you see a heat template that I created. And based on the template, that's also a nice feature. You keep me triggered right now. If you have an existing heat or CloudFormations template, what you can do is just cut and paste it in here. And then you go to create service dialog from orchestration template. What then happens is that it will show you, it will create, oh, not a reminder, it will create this dialog based on the heat template that you have. So that's quite easy to implement a rollout in your own environment if you have already templates available. And out there, there's a lot of templates. I can show you. This is only what I have to do. Submit it. And this is the demo part, right? So everything can fill, but I hope that it will do. Now you see that the request is made. It's going to start the provisioning. It's automatic approved right now, so I keep within quota and then it can automatically create. If someone is asking for more resources and it's not in their quota, you can start a workflow for management to really give a go for it or not. I do a reload of the request. It's creating the stack, so we should see some stuff going on now in OpenStack. Let's see, here it is. WordPress is going to be deployed. If I go to the console, it's starting. So it's spawning still, so it should go to running in a minute. It would take about 2 minutes for me to get this up. You see that via the heat template, already a floating IP address is assigned. It's going to state running. So now it starts. It's going to do a cloud init, so it really implements a RHEL 7.1 at this time. Put the packages in, WordPress, and based on the IP address that has been given, I can now, and that will take I think a minute or so, I can go to this address, copy it, will take a minute, but then you will get a login towards the WordPress environment, and then you have a complete install, finished. So now, last minute, think again, what has to be done in your environment to create this? You have to get network involved, storage. You need to create a MariaDB instance. You need an IP address. You need to go from management. You need to have another resources approved to you. So normally this will take you, in practice, let's get an answer. 6 weeks? Days? Days is good enough. I'll do it here in 2 minutes. Right? So this is completely automated. There it goes. It's waking up. You see it here, WordPress installation. Three, two, one. Come on. It's looking externally. Shouldn't be do that. There it is. So how do you want to call it? OpenStack Conference 2015. Username. Koen, I'm a little bit selfish. Koen, very weak password. Koen at redhat.lab. No, I don't want to be searched from external. Install WordPress and it will give you now the dashboard. So it's finalizing the installation right. Any questions? Yeah?
Does platforms support OpenShift templates or instant apps?
Not at this time, but I have to look into what our standpoint will be at 3.1 level of OpenShift. But let's talk offline. For now, it's not there yet. Yeah. Okay, there it is. Log in. Let's do. It will give you the dashboard overview of a standard WordPress implementation. You'll see it right on. Was this interesting, guys? Yeah? All right. Thanks very much. Time is running out. I'll be here the rest of the day, so please ask questions and get in touch with each other. Thanks very much, guys.